for this one, I'll be using kind of a hybrid standard drop D flat thing going on. It'd basically just be the same as like a drop D tuning, but you just take the low string a half a step further, and it makes for a pretty simple shape, not a big deal. So we'll end up with low string is drop to a D flat or C sharp if you prefer, and then every other string we're just going to keep the same for simplicity, accessibility purposes here. Makes it real simple. So we'll just end up with the low D flat, A, D, G, B, E, right? Nice and easy. And for this one, the verse is just kind of like more of a chilled out, get a lot of reverb on there, maybe a little delay, dial down the overdrive a little bit, not so hard here, just kind of a light floating around chord, two chords really. So this first one, it'll go from like an F minor to a F sus2. And so with this tuning, what we want is a couple of bass note hits. So we'll do that at the 4 on the low D flat string here. And it's basically like a couple hits on that. And then we just are going to move from this minor look to the sus2 look. And so with this, it would be the 6 on the middle D and the 5 on the G. And I'm just kind of muting the A string here just by, having my pointer finger just lightly touching it, Alright, and then we come back, hit another bass note on the 4. And then we just kind of resolve it to the sus2. And for me, it's not a big deal to like kind of bunch my fingers like this, so I just kind of like to shift, where I just take that 6 middle D and just slide it down to the 5, keeping the 5 on the G with it. If that's an issue for you, like, maybe you want to just kind of flip-flop your fingers like that, up to you. Just kind of experiment with what works for you. So, like I said, it just kind of resolves to the 5s on the middle D and the G. And then the second chord, it's kind of the same picking, strumming dynamic, but we just shift to a different spot. We're going to go to a D flat sus2, and with this one, it's just kind of the one chord. Nothing really moves around here, but it's that similar dynamic where we'll hit a couple of the bass notes, and this will be 4 on the A, so a couple of those, and then we'll strum through this sus2, where it's basically like the 6 on the D, 6G, and then we want the 4 on the B. And if you happen to hit a 4 on the high E with it, it's not the worst thing, but it's not necessary. So a couple bass notes there, hit the chord, the D, G, B string there, the 6, 6, and the 4. Alright, back to the bass note, and then strum the chord again. And a little trick for me, like if I want to keep the high string quiet, I just kind of have my pinky right here, just touching it. So if I happen to strum it, you're not going to hear it. But like I said, if you want to just include it, it's not a big deal. Like it sounds fine, but not necessary. So little option there for you. Other than that, we would go through those chords twice each, just like that. Do them both. The intro is a couple times through with no vocal, then the vocal comes in for the verse, and then it goes through a couple times there. And the chorus here kind of starts, the bass is doing, and there's probably a second guitar in there too, but there's a lead section that happens at the first part of the chorus. And for that one, I just kind of come up to this area here, mostly like the low 4 strings here. But anyway, we would pick through 8 on the A, a 6D, 8G, back to the 6D. And then we hit that 6, slide it up to 8 here on the middle D. Okay, hold that just a moment, and then hit that 8, slide it up to 10. Alright, and at the end of the first run through, we'll do this bit where you hit a 12 on this low D flat string, and then pick 10 middle D, 10 A. Go through that twice. We would drop back down, hit the 8A, 6D, 8G again, back to the 6D. slide that 6 to 8 on the D, slide the 8 to 10, and then the second run through, we just kind of stay there and let it hang. And it sounds like there's kind of like a synth thing that kind of takes off right there. So if you want to try to mimic that somehow, up to you. But you can just kind of let it hang there. All right, and that's basically kind of like the whole run through there. You would do that whole run through, you know, sliding, picking the 8 through 6s, slide up, and then pick the 12 with the 10s. You know, pick the 8 through 6s, and then slide up. Do that. That's kind of the whole bit. And then you would do that whole thing a couple times. And then it shifts, the vocal comes in over the chorus, and it just kind of shifts to just like strumming power chords. And with this tuning, the power chord shape, it kind of looks like we're doing like a G chord or something. So it's like this, a little bit offset. We want to start here with the F power chord. So we'd be 4 on the low D flat, and then have the 3s on the A and the middle D here. Okay. And with this, strum it just, you know, quarter notes 4 times. Drop it down to the 2 and the 1s for the E flat. Do a few strums on this. And we come off to the open low D flat. So hit the open D flat string and then zoom up here where we'll throw a power chord under it, the 4A, 6 on the D. If you want to throw in the 6G, that's fine. I kind of like to save that for later though. But here, it's kind of like you give it a strum, a little hesitation. Then 1, 2, couple closer, 1 more, and then a little transitional E flat power chord again, the 2 with the 1s, just kind of a 1 hit. So slowly it'd be. Alright, and then we would go through that whole progression about 3 times. And then the final time through, we just kind of shift the last 2 chords. One of them is just kind of a voicing change, but we would start the same, the 4 with the 3s, 4 strums. But here, we're going to take it up. We go up to 7 on the low D flat, and then 6 on the A and D for this A flat power chord. And with this, strum it 3 times. And then we do our D flat power chord again, but here we just kind of want the higher voicing of it. So you can either, I just kind of like to drop back to the 4A, 6 on the D, and then throw in the 6G just to give it kind of the higher vibe, but we leave out the low D flat string, and it's the same kind of strum. And like I said, you can either do it there, or you can just take the shape, you know, from that 7 and 6s, you can just take that and come all the way up to 12 with 11s and do that the same. Alright, it's a little easier to write out on the tab if I just drop down here, and it's a little bit closer too, so up to you, a couple options there. And then there's that same kind of little transitional E flat, the 2 with the 1s, that 1 hit. So there's a little transitional chord there too if you want to throw that, you know, kind of in between the couple runs of that we're going to do. If the final time you don't want to do that as we transition back to the verse, you can just leave that off. It's up to you. But other than that, all those parts, those verse parts, the lead chorus section, and the chorus chords, once you get all that, the whole song should be good to go.